Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 50 Shades of Tay. I'm your host, Taylor Gonzalez, and today I am joined by a very special guest. I have Lauren Budd here, who is going to be an evil stepsister in the upcoming Cinderella's Curse. Lauren, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
Good, thanks. Thanks so much for joining me. This is very exciting.
Yeah.
So far, I have spoken with Kelly, who plays Cinderella. I've spoken with Louisa, who directed the film. And then now I have you, who is one of the evil stepsisters. Tomorrow, I'll be talking with Natasha, who's another
Great.
evil stepsister. So it's very exciting to get the whole Cinderella's Curse family in on this.
Oh, I love it. That's so nice.
So, Lauren, how did you get cast in this film?
It was word of mouth, really. I previously did a thriller a couple of months ago, um, with another production company, and I think I just got recommended through that, which is kind of like quite typical of the industry, really. Like you just kind of once you start working with one person, and then you get recommended for another thing, you get recommended for another thing, and yeah, the person who is responsible for casting just reached out to me very casually. They were like, "Oh, do you fancy playing in this?" I was like, "Yes." And yeah, I actually thought originally the dates were going to clash with Glastonbury, which is like an English festival. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Hmm.
And they're really hard to get tickets for. And at first I was like, oh my God, I can't do it. And then I was like trying to juggle in my head of like what to do.
Hmm.
And then I went back to my calendar and realized I'd got that all wrong. And actually, Glastonbury was the week before or something. So I was like messaging them straight away. And I was like, do not give that part away. That's my part. That's my part. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it.
Oh my gosh, that's
Might have come
hilarious.
on a bit strong, but
Oh, well, I'm glad you were able to do both. Who did you see perform at Glastonbury?
Oh my gosh, I saw Lizzo, I
Oh,
saw Lewis Capaldi, I saw Becky Hill, saw Dermot Kennedy, I saw Elton John, obviously, as
oh,
did like the entire festival. It was amazing, though. It was such a good weekend. But yeah, I had to come back and jump straight into line learning, which
that
was
is
a
funny.
bit tricky, but I got through
Oh my
it.
God. Yeah, it works out great when you're able to do both things because it's stressful going through your calendar and when things overlap, but sometimes it just works
Mhm.
out and it's meant to
Always,
be.
yeah, always. It's always the way. Me and my friend used to say, if you want to get the job of your life, book a holiday. And then something will come through because you know you'll have to cancel that holiday or
Mm.
reschedule it because like it's just the way it is. It's always the way it is.
Oh my gosh, that's great. I'm gonna go book a vacation right now.
Yeah.
Oh man. So, what can you tell me about your character of the evil stepsister?
Oh gosh, yeah. So her name's Ingrid in this film. And she was just so much fun to play. I sort of played her as because obviously like when you're going through the reality of the character and you have to make it real for yourself and you have to really understand like why is she like this, like why is she such a crazy bitch. So like I sort of played her very much like she's like an open wound kind of thing, so like literally anything can just set her off, and she has a lot of interesting conversations with other characters. She has people like the prince or the stepmom who she kind of shows a version of herself to, and then Cinderella and her sister, Hannah, her little sister Hannah, she shows this other completely different side of herself too, which was really fun, sort of like finding the different rhythms with that. And she's complete like girl boss energy. She's like, she knows what she wants. She is not afraid to like stamp on people to get it. But she's not, she thinks she's a lot cleverer than what she is. Like she's in her own little deluded world of like she thinks she's like, she knows what she's doing and everything, but she doesn't really.
Oh my
um
gosh,
yeah, no, she was great fun. She's super sassy. She's kind of like, she's a bit spicy. Like, yeah, she was just really, really fun to play and develop.
that's great. I am so looking forward to this film. I think it's next month already. It's crazy. The time's going by
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, I might. Yeah, I mean, we've had like lots of different dates for it, and it's kind of like keeps changing due to whatever. I mean, I don't understand what goes on in that part of it, but I'm really excited for it to come out as well.
So throughout the years, there have been a ton of different Cinderella versions. There's like the Disney classic animated one. Then a few years
Mm,
ago, Disney did it in live action. And then there's one that I love, which was with Brandy and Whitney Houston. It was a musical, sing-along version. And I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. And I'm gonna hate myself later because I'm gonna remember
yeah.
as soon as we
I
end this. But that one was just incredible. I don't know if you ever saw that one. Did
don't
you
know if I
have a
did, you
favorite?
know.
Oh, it's
I'm
so
gonna have to
good.
definitely have a look at it when I get off
Yeah,
the call.
it's so
Yeah.
good. It's on Disney Plus right now. If you have Disney Plus, you should be able to see it on there.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, but did you have
So,
a favorite version of Cinderella growing up?
I mean, I'm just all about like the originals, like the classics.
Hmm.
Like just really grew up with them. And it's not even like the characters in the story, but like the music and like the magic of it all, and the little like talking animals and like all of that stuff. I just used to love all of that, and like I used to always kind of like really hope that if
Oh,
I was like walking through the forest on my own or whatever, like the deer would just suddenly spring out and start talking to me, or like some like forest animals might come into my room and help me get changed or whatever. It's never happened yet, but I'm still
you never
hoping.
know. Yeah, there's still time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So, did you have a favorite scene to film while making this movie?
Oh, yeah, I mean, they were all really fun, if I'm honest. But I think the one that stands out to me when you ask me that question, is probably, I think it was like my last scene or one of my last scenes with Cinderella, without trying to give away too much. And we got to do like we were filming in this castle in Glasgow. I'm not sure if the girls have told you how much about that, but it was an amazing castle, and we had so much to play with in terms of like the set and how to place things and everything. And my last scene, we did this like very traditional like cat and mouse sort of game with Cinderella and Ingrid. And it was really scary. Like I was genuinely like, I was like behind the pillar like this, and I'm like actually like my heart was actually beating, like because all the costumes and special effects was amazing. Like we're getting really into it. And that was just really fun, like working out how to make that look good, and how to make that, as jumpy as possible and stuff, and getting really sort of carried away with like the excitement of it and the adrenaline. Yeah, so I think that really stands out for me.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it really was. It really was.
So, when you were growing up, was Cinderella your favorite Disney princess, or was there another one that you were more fond of?
Mm. Yeah, like I said, I really wasn't a Disney princess kind of girl.
Mhm.
I was all about the animals. Like I love the Lion King and the Jungle
Oh,
Book
yeah.
stuff. But I do remember. Do you remember Meg from Hercules?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I thought she was so like I thought she was quite beyond her time. Like she was very sarcastic. She's like making all these jokes that like Hercules just kind of didn't really get. I felt she was just like really like much more like I don't know like emotionally intelligent than like everybody else in the cartoon. And I remember actually really liking her for that.
Hmm.
She was kind of on her own narrative really, and then she just kind of was just a bit like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I go along with this kind of thing. But yeah, I think Meg from Hercules is my answer.
Oh, that's a good one. I love Meg. When you
Yeah.
said Meg, I was like, I thought of Family Guy, and I was like, what? And then when you said
You're like
Hercules, I
wrong
was like, oh,
show.
okay, completely different person. But yeah, I love Meg, love Hercules. I think they're doing a live action Hercules right now. I'm pretty sure. I know.
No
Well,
way.
we'll have to see how that turns out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So we talked about your favorite scene. We talked about your relationship with Cinderella growing up. You were also in Freddy's Fridays, which I've talked to a couple of people now who were in that film, and it looks so fun. And you also have several other horror projects on the way. What is it about horror that you enjoy so much?
Oh yeah. So I like originally, I'd say a couple of years ago, I wasn't really a horror fan, really. I've got a very, I'm an actor, got a very vivid imagination, and I'm one of those people that like if I get left alone in a room or in a house and I hear like a creak or whatever, I'm like, oh my God, there's an axe murderer downstairs, and like my brain just goes crazy. So like there's like definitely films that I've watched. Like, do you remember like The Ring? And like
Oh yeah.
yeah, all of that's like that just stayed with me for I watched that one probably when I was like 12 or 13. I'm 34 now. Like I still think she's coming to get me.
Mhm.
So yeah, so sorry. I wasn't like a massive, I wouldn't have put myself in like that category really of like being like kind of a horror fan. But then once I started making them, and then obviously to get into those characters and understand those characters, you've got to watch horror films and like get the references and like know where to build up your character from. So I had to just get over it and watch the horror films. And actually it really opened my eyes up to like what a special genre it is. Like I don't think there's another genre that like directly like hits you through the screen like horror does. Like you get like a sad film that makes you feel a bit sad, and a comedy film might cheer you up a bit. But horror is like the only thing that you'll physically be hiding behind your hands, screaming. Like I said, like for me, like staying with you for like years and years after you've watched it. I just don't think there's another genre like it, and you can really bend like the boundaries of like realism, and like you can be a bit naughty with it. There's a bit of artistic license, I think, of like, like what is kind of like realistic and not, because it kind of, I don't know, I feel like the horror community like crave that
Mhm.
like, I don't know what the word is for it, but that kind of elaborate, exaggerated world, I suppose. Eccentric, I think is the word I'm looking
Mhm.
for. Some of them. Yeah, and I don't know, I just love it now. Like and I think it really helps with my other parts and my other acting, which makes, it helps you not take yourself too seriously
Mhm.
as well. You sort of find the nectar in all of it that can be a bit cheeky kind of thing. So yeah, I think there's so much about horror that I like, and about like working with it and being in it. Sorry, that was a really, really long answer.
No, I love that answer. It was perfect. That's so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because you mentioned The Ring, and in a couple other interviews, I've been talking about The Ring and how when I was a kid, that was like the scariest thing I had ever seen when the static happens on the TV and Samara crawls out. And I was thinking about it, and I don't think kids today, if they saw it, would be as scared because everything's streaming now, so there's no more static on TV. So like when I
Yeah,
was a kid and I would wake up in the middle of the night and like the TV would be on and there would be static, my heart would
no,
be pounding.
I
But now
wouldn't.
there's no
No.
static. I think the screen just goes to like a screensaver. So it's
Yeah,
not, you know what I mean? It doesn't have the same
true.
effect.
Yeah. And I actually just think like people are harder to scare now as well.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
for
so.
sure.
But back
Like
then
even
it was
all like
like,
all the older film. I mean, now it's like, you've got so much like special effects, and like all the shots are like super quick, and like it's all like, you've got so much that you can sort of use to like raise people's heart rates. Whereas like, I mean, I suppose our generation and then the generation before that, like you really relied on the storytelling and that slow burn of like, will they, won't they, what's going to happen kind of thing. So yeah, you're probably right. Like I imagine it's quite a lot harder to scare the generation now with everything they've got available to them.
yeah, that's true. Oof.
Mm.
So, are there some current or recent horror films or horror shows on Netflix or something that you're binging that you've been enjoying?
Um, hmm. I think the last horror film I watched was, oh, I know what it was. It was Soft and Quiet. Have
Okay,
you
no, I
watched?
haven't heard of that one.
I think it was made, I think it's fairly new. It's definitely been made in the last couple of years.
Oh,
And actually, weirdly that we're on that topic, because I think it's filmed to be like a more of a classic horror where it's
oh,
not about the special effects and the quick thing, and it is a
mm,
slow burner, and it drip feeds you like this information. And that was really that had me there being like, no, she's not gonna do it. Oh my goodness. And it has this really iconic thing where, so the start is that this she's a kindergarten teacher, and she's like walking to a meeting, and you just assume, all of your stereotypes kick in, and you assume she's going to do, some sort of mother's meeting or whatever. And she sits down, and she, with the cake that you've watched her carry all the way through school, and she's smiling at everyone, and she's taking it down the forest and everything, and then she gets to the hall, and she lifts the cake box up, and on the cake there's a swastika on it in the middle, and then she starts cutting into it, and they're all serving it up and like being all merry with each other, and then they all sat down like, right, so what's the first thing? And yeah, so that's
Oh,
the
wow.
opening scene. Yeah, so that's really cool. Well, as in like it was really well done,
Mhm.
because it makes you go, oh, I assumed, I didn't think like it makes you play against your own prejudice, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, it hasn't got all like the gore and like all the other stuff that we have available to us now, and it really makes you sit there and watch it and pay attention, because you're like, surely that's not going to happen, surely she's not going to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, watch it, soft and
Okay.
quiet.
I'm gonna add
Yeah.
it to my watch list right now because I'm always looking for new
That's
horror, especially stuff I
creepy.
haven't heard of before, and that sounds really
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, sure. What about you? Are you watching anything at the moment?
Right now I am binge watching The Walking Dead
Oh
because my
yeah.
boyfriend had never seen it, and then I interviewed one of the actors from the show and mentioned like he had never seen it, and she was not happy. So I was like, okay, we're gonna watch it. So we're on season 2 right now, and he's really loving it. I just can't believe
Oh
he's
great.
like one of the few people who didn't watch it when it was airing. I don't know, all those
Yeah,
years
yeah,
ago.
yeah. Oh my God, it was massive, wasn't it? I feel
Yeah,
like the whole world was watching it.
it was crazy. And then
Nice.
right now there's also a spin-off show. It's called The Ones Who Live, and it takes place years after the events of the first series. And they brought back Rick and they brought back Michonne, which were two of my favorite characters. So to see them in 2024, like after I think it's
Mm.
been at least over a decade since The Walking Dead first began. It's been a long time.
God, they've done well out of that, haven't they?
Yeah, very
Put
crazy.
their kids through college, that
Yeah. I know
show.
it's funny because one of the kids in the show, I was like, he was maybe like 12, 13 when the show came out. I was like, this guy's got to be like in his 30s now. And I looked and he's like, I think 30 something now. And I was like, that is crazy because that's about how old I'm really not good with math, but that's about how old I was when I was watching the show. I was like a teenager. So I was like,
Mm.
yeah, now I'm in my 30s.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, it's just
yeah.
crazy to think how much time has passed because it just goes
Yeah,
by
well, I
so
mean,
fast.
if it's a good formula, like it
Yeah.
just means you can use it again and again, can't you?
Mhm.
They've done something right there, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true. So one of my favorite questions that I've been asking people lately is, do you have a favorite Halloween costume that you've ever worn?
Mm. Yes, but it's not like the costume isn't necessarily the thing. It's like my memory with it, and it's actually really funny thinking about that, because I haven't thought about it for a while. But when I had this like skeleton, like all in one skeleton, like one suit, and it was one of those you could like zip up and everything, and I was meant to be going to like a big Halloween party with my friends, and they ended up not being able to do it, because what we were saying earlier, I booked something with my friends, and then lo and behold, like the job comes up.
Mhm.
So it was in Miami. It was a modeling job, and I missed the party, and everyone was like, oh, and I was like, yeah, so I had to just go. But I took the skeleton outfit with me, and I got the makeup artist, who I was quite good friends with at the time, to do this video of me. I put the skeleton outfit on, and then I went into the Miami beach. I went on into the sea,
Mhm.
and I just like I hid under the sea, and then I came out of the water with it on, and then like came out, and I was like giving it a dance and stuff. And my makeup artist was like filming me while I was doing it, and I did this little like montage of like me in the skeleton outfit coming out the sea. I think I did one like lying by the pool having a cocktail. I think I did one like pretending to put sun cream on and stuff, just to be like sorry, like because we made all these plans to
Mhm.
like have this night out, and then I couldn't go, so I sent them over it just before they were heading out.
Oh, that's really fun.
So I've got really good memories of that. I'm so sure I've still got it as well. But yeah, I don't know if that's what you wanted as the
No,
answer.
that's cool. I love that. It's very creative because most people are going with like generic things like a ghost or, but to have like a whole story about it too is like, oh, that's awesome. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. No, it's nice. I haven't thought about that for ages actually. So it's nice
Aw.
to think about
Yeah,
that.
that's why I love asking that question because it's horror related, but then it also like brings back memories because people have to think like, oh yeah, what did I dress as? And it's just so fun
Mm,
because Halloween
yeah.
is my favorite holiday and just one night a year you can do whatever you want. I think
Yeah,
of it like the
exactly.
purge.
Yeah,
You get
I
away
mean,
with
the
anything for one
skeleton
night.
outfit coming out of the sea, and like for some reason it was completely fine because it was Halloween. So everyone was just like, yeah. Like literally 2 days later, everyone had been like, "What is this crazy bitch doing?" Actually, they might not have been in Miami, to be fair, but like,
It's okay. Oh, that's so fun. I love that. So in Cinderella, the fairy godmother grants Cinderella a wish. If you could
Mm.
have a fairy godmother grant you any wish, what would you wish for?
Oh, uh, I think, I mean, I think my answer will always just be like happiness and healthiness for me
Oh,
and my friends and family, I
mhm.
guess. I definitely think like, coming into my 30s and stuff, like you start sort of being a bit more aware of all of that and knowing how lucky you are, I guess, to just kind of like live the life you're living and have all of your friends and family around you happy and healthy and stuff. And you can really take a minute to be like, God, this is really, I don't have to worry about anyone or anything. And that's really, special, I think. And yeah, so I suppose it'd be to sort of like continue that as long as it's natural too, I suppose.
Oh, that's a sweet answer. I like that one.
Thanks.
So I know you've done acting, you've done modeling. Are there any genres of film that you haven't done yet that you would be interested in trying out?
Yeah, I mean there's loads to be honest, but like I think the thing that I'd really like to like jump into is like something like really dark,
Mm.
like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Shutter Island, those sort of like Seven, those kind of like more like psychological thriller kind of things that like really keeps you on your toes and you get really like deep into like the characters and their journeys and everything. So yeah, I'm gonna say like a dark thriller, dark dramatic thriller would be really, yeah, I'd love to get involved in something like
Mm.
that.
Yeah, and those movies you mentioned, those are all great movies, so I would love to see you in something along those lines. That sounds so fun.
Hey, I would love to see me in something like that as well. But yeah, fingers crossed,
Yeah,
maybe one day.
book a vacation right now. Let's both book the same one.
Yes. Let's go to Miami with our
Yeah,
skeleton costumes.
I love that. Well, Lauren, where can people follow you to keep up with your upcoming projects, your upcoming films?
So I'm really good on Instagram. I'm pretty up to date with all of that. I'll always sort of, post something. Sometimes you're not allowed to say what you're working on or whatever, but like I'll always sort of give a little hint that I'm kind of like on something or working on something. And IMDb is really good as well. Although sometimes, that has projects that you're not going to be actually on set for like a year or so. But yeah, I mean, if you really want to stay super up to date what I'm doing, that IMDb would be good. But yeah, Instagram is probably the best one. My tag is Lauren V Bud with two D's.
Perfect. And I will put links to your Instagram and to your IMDb page in the description of this video so people can follow you and see what's next for you and hopefully find you one of those films you were talking about in the dark thriller kind of thing. That, oh, so
Yeah,
fun. I would love
yeah,
that.
me
Well,
too.
Lauren, I really appreciate this opportunity. It was so nice getting to speak with you, and I cannot wait to see Cinderella's Curse. And thank you so much for this.
Oh yeah, no, thank you. It's been really lovely.
It was very nice to meet you. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, you too.
Bye.